Welcome back to another episode on the Gold Room. Another episode on the Trifecta series. Today, we're lucky enough to sit down with Don Smith from Tempest Minerals. Mate, thank you very much for joining me.
Hey, thanks for having me, man. It's we finally made it happen. So,
I know. A few little issues here and there, but boom, we're here.
Yeah.
Studio time.
100%.
Mate, big things with Tempest Minerals. Big things on the horizon. Let's get into the life and the times. It's how we start every episode,
Sure.
mate. So get into that.
No worries. Well, I always struggle talking about myself, to be honest, but
Most people do.
I'll give it a go. I was born in the mountains in northern New South Wales and on a mine. And I was there for a few years until I was little, and then we moved to Queensland and moved a lot of places as a kid. I definitely had a unique childhood, that's for sure.
Awesome. So, family, dad working in the mines?
Yeah, that's right. So it's worth giving the background of that. He was a miner in the ISA in, I guess, the 60s and 70s, and he was actually really good. To my knowledge, he still holds the handheld record in the ISA because he was just insanely strong, so he could do an air leg in each hand. And,
wow.
Yeah, it's bananas. And so he was really good at mining, and then he got injured in an accident underground, and they gave him the opportunity of either a piddly payout or to get retrained. And he became basically what we would call a fieldy today, as a geological assistant. And he got partnered up with the chief geologist there, and turns out the chief geologist was actually colourblind. And he was a genius when it came to minerals, but he couldn't tell what colour they were, which is kind of important diagnostic.
For sure.
And so he ended up being like the colour teller, and turned out he was really good at geology, and he ended up discovering a bunch of deposits for MIM, but he never got any credit because he wasn't a geologist.
Wow.
And so he went out on his own and started discovering deposits and mining them himself, and that was my childhood. So
What an awesome childhood.
yeah, it was pretty random.
That's an awesome history.
Yeah. So I mean, it gets better. I don't tend to talk about it much, but might as well in this.
That's what we're here for.
We my mum literally nearly gave birth to me underground. So
What was your mum doing underground?
well, she was actually the winder operator for the mine, and the first licensed female operator in Australia, by the way.
Wow.
And she went into labour and couldn't get anyone on the radio, so she walked down the decline and sort of tapped him on the shoulder and went, "How about you take me to hospital?"
Oh my gosh, mate. We had Barry Upton in a couple of weeks ago,
Yep.
and it's actually the couple of episodes before this one, and his history is. I thought at the time, I was just like, wow, this is awesome sitting down with him, but not taking anything away from his story, mate. But wow, what a story you have.
Yeah, so it was.
That's amazing.
I'd say it was unique for sure. Yeah.
And so, growing up as a young fella, on a mine site?
Yeah, exclusively.
Wow.
We we sort of quasi homeschooled until I was young, and then my mum insisted we go to school, and we lived in a string of small towns around Queensland, and eventually when I was in my teens, we moved to Newcastle in New South Wales to be close to my mum's family. And
High school? Is that where you went to high school?
I finished high school last couple of years there, and then I went to uni there as well. And,
Okay.
Yeah.
Studied?
I studied geology,
Yes.
but I didn't actually originally enroll in geology. So
What'd you enroll in?
It was in languages. So
Okay.
my father actually forbade me to go into mining. That didn't last long.
Yeah.
But I started off as doing language, specifically Japanese, and then I ended up going to an introductory geology course. I went, no, this is what I want to do. So,
Wow, awesome.
Yeah.
I would have thought you might have bloody looked into geology a little bit earlier. Why'd your old man not want you to get into it?
Because he had to work so hard, to be honest.
Yeah.
I mean, he was very, very open about it. I don't want you to live, the life I have, and I have ended up living it.
And look at you now.
But I loved every minute of it.
Yeah,
so,
cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Cool. So you enjoyed your time at university?
Not so much, to be honest.
4 years?
It was a 3-year degree, but
cool.
I wasn't good at uni. I didn't enjoy studying. I just wanted to do real stuff, and I found not that I have any problem with academic stuff, but I wanted to do real stuff and just get on with it. And I didn't put the effort in I should have back then, and I regret that. But eventually,
I think that's everybody.
Oh, look, it isn't. But
anybody I've ever spoken to is, and I try and tell this to my children. I said, listen, when you leave school, you're going to understand, and you start working, you're going to understand how fun school really was. And also, certainly now, I think I wish I studied so much more.
Yeah.
Not that I think I could be something else, but I just think that retention of information.
When you could have done it when you're younger, totally get it. Yeah. But I mean, it was fun. I mean, I enjoyed my time. I did lots of different stuff, but didn't study enough. But that changed when Newcastle University was quite unique too, in that there was the course structure, which was very broad. It wasn't overly specific. So, for example, like the School of Mines here is very mining specific. Geology there was very, very broad. But then it's there was one of the teachers was deeply embedded in the mining industry, and he used to take some voluntary field trips. So we never got university holidays ever. Our holidays were going on voluntary field trips to mines, and on one of those we went to Cadia in New South Wales, biggest gold mine in Australia, and I just saw the chief geologist there. He gave us this big rousing speech on the pressure they were under, and it was serious pressure, like 0.01 grams per tonne change in grade was the difference between the operation going bust or not at the time.
Far out.
And
far cry from today.
They're doing tens of millions of tonnes a day, sort of. It was just bananas. And I was like, I want to do that. Yep. And that changed my course back to what I'm doing now. So
awesome. Yeah. So you finished university. What was your first job?
I actually worked during uni. I worked in coal, but then I got recruited out of. I was very rare because I think you had Amanda on here recently, and she said that the companies were recruiting out of uni when she was there. When I was there, it couldn't have been. It was almost negative jobs.
Wow.
Worse than it is now, but it's getting similar. And but because I had experience, I applied for a job in Cobar where I'd also done field work for uni, and I happened to jag a job, and never looked back. So.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Mate, what was your dream job growing up? And, have you reached that?
Didn't see that question coming. Yes and no. Yes and no. So dream job was I wanted to see everything. I wanted to see the world. Yep. So yes, I've
International.
I just wanted to go places, and that's why I chose languages, because I thought that was a chance to travel.
Did you get to Japan?
I've been to Japan, but I haven't spent enough time there.
Did you speak the language?
I did.
Oh,
yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, no, it's been very helpful in business as well.
Yeah.
My first company in Cobar, New South Wales, CBH Resources, was owned by a Japanese company, and I was able to use that a lot. So yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. After Cobar, so I was there for 6-7 years, mine geologist, and then I moved to Perth to build Sulphur Springs, which is now owned by Bill Beaumont and the Develop Group.
Wow.
And then the global financial crisis happened.
2008?
Yep. And that was...
What year did you arrive in?
2007.
Yeah, okay.
Yep. Yeah. And that was a big change in a lot of things. So I had done enough time with that company. I decided time to go out and do some new things. So I worked all across the world, really, in Europe, Korea, Asia, and then I came back to Australia.
So one of the questions I do have is what sparked your early interest in mining? And I know you covered a little bit about it.
Sure.
But some people just don't have any idea. A lot of the young kids today don't have any idea about what they want to do, and they just think, I'll just wing it. What sparked your interest in the mining industry?
Oh, there's two parts to that. For sure, the first one, obviously heavy exposure to it as a kid. Yep. But I also believe it's a truly noble profession. I mean, the mining industry has plenty of dodgy stuff going on, which I'm not into.
Yep.
But without what we do, the world stops, and we don't have anything. It's one of my favourite games for people who are anti-mining is to sit them in a room and point on any object in the room, and I can probably tell you what it's made of, where the products have come from.
Yep.
And so I think it's important. It's deeply important to the civilization that we have it, and that's what drives me, and the thing that makes me want to do it. So,
we had Susie Urbanek on.
Amazing, love her.
Absolutely amazing woman. Her and Christian Price. There's a whole group of people within this industry that are just pushing core learning, core foundation. And I can't speak, more highly of it. I talk to friends and family and say, hey, listen, your kid is enjoying science, won a science award at school. You need to be following and looking and watching 100%. And nurturing,
100%,
from a young age, at primary school onwards, rather than just getting to high school, the end of high school, and going, oh, what do I do now?
Look, I've spoken to Susie about this. I did a quasi version of the same thing when I was at uni myself. We would go out to the schools in the Newcastle region and educate them about science and, you know, what the cool things they can do. And obviously I was very geoscience and mining focused in that. And I think it's terribly important that, you know, the world is aware of what is actually the mining industry. Yeah.
It's not just pulling rocks out of the ground and putting rubbish back into it.
Absolutely not.
It's crazy. Mate, I want to go into, and I know we've jumped ahead a little bit, but I want to go into, back when you were in New South Wales, you were interested in a number of sports,
Sure.
and even brought that love of sports and music over to WA.
100%. Yeah. I always be big on sports, so I needed, like most young people, a lot of energy, a lot of I won't call it demons, but you need a way to express yourself, and sport was always my primary one for that. And I was lucky in my teens. I also discovered music for that as well.
Yeah, what instruments do you play?
I try to play guitar. It's a big part of my life, and as is sport. And I've done a lot of that. I was watching the State of Origin, of course, last night. So I played rugby league for a long time. Both codes of rugby, all sports really. But my main passion was always martial arts, actually. So,
really?
Yeah.
Any particular martial art?
Oh, look, I'd done a lot of them. Taekwondo when I was younger, and for then it was less about. It wasn't even a sport. It's the art part of it that attracted me. You know, it's putting your body in, trying to get the beauty and motion into and that kind of thing. But as I got older, for sure, sports side, and got into MMA and that kind of stuff.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And you know, a professional MMA fighter, don't you?
I do. In fact, I'm reasonably well known for having this damage on my ear here.
You whip the earphone off and we'll throw that down the camera. Okay.
Yeah, there we go.
Well,
Yep.
You look like you've been in a couple of too many scrums, mate.
Yeah, ironically, 20 years of boxing, both codes of rugby, never had any ear damage. But then training in MMA, just one particular day, a friend of mine who's now in the UFC, and shout out to Quilton Salkilld, who he's absolutely smashing at the moment in the UFC. And just a training session one day, and the same way he smashed the guy in his last fight, actually, it's exactly what he used to do to me in the training room. And my head hit the ground, and my ear exploded. So it is what it is.
Was it painful?
Not at all. No, didn't even know. Really?
Really?
I just felt just a little bit like a bit of a hematoma, a bit of liquid or something. But it was properly mashed.
Yeah,
it's good. Yeah.
Cool. In New Zealand, well, it's probably around the world, cauliflower ears.
Totally. Yeah.
Totally looks like bunched up, banged up cauliflower.
Yeah. But it's pretty standard in the sport, and that you get that. So,
Yep.
Yeah.
So most memorable time growing up, whether it be in sports or in mining, what would that be?
Oh, look, that's a hard one. I think it's probably my early teens, growing up on the mine site, and our house was right beside it, essentially. And my dad would work, God knows, 18-hour days, 7 days a week. He never stopped. It was insane. I definitely got the workaholic bug from both my parents in that regard. But I'd on any time off I had from school on the weekends, that kind of thing, I'd be up there driving an excavator or bulldozer with him. And so I look back now, it's like
Times have changed.
They certainly have. Yeah, yeah. 8-year-olds driving excavators,
No.
it's just not conceivable today. But it wasn't a big deal. So I think that's definitely the most memorable time and formative in terms of mining, and also how to look after things. So we were never a rip-tear mining company, even back then, 30, 40 years ago. We were always very respectful of the environment, and I certainly carried that forward into the way I operate my business now. So,
Awesome, mate. And leading from that, Tempest Minerals.
Indeed.
Let's go into that, mate.
Sure. Well, I obviously do a number of things. Tempest is my main gig. Look, we're an exploration company. There's no shortage of them on the market, but we came into existence because there was a troubled lithium explorer in circa 2019, and we had a fantastic package of ground in Yalgoo and Mount Magnet in Western Australia here, and we put those things together, and became what is now Tempest, and it's been a great ride. It was definitely a challenge. The first, I guess, the week the pandemic was announced was the week that I started my job.
Wow!
And I had to raise money and get on the work to start doing exploration. As the pandemic kicked off, so that was definitely not easy.
Tough time.
Ironically, wasn't that hard, but it certainly could have been. I think possibly the pandemic thing's been blown out of proportion in terms of how hard it was for people, like compared to other places.
Oh, for sure. But I mean, I remember working through it, and I was one of those lucky ones that was my job was deemed to be in the greater good of the country.
That's right,
and
exactly.
that is mining.
Yep.
Right. Yep. So while everybody else stopped, coffee shops stopped, every bloody business. Yep. Not every business, but so many businesses stopped.
Yep.
Right. They shut it down. Dan Andrews, the legend, shut down Melbourne. He shut down all of Melbourne for bloody months and months and months. And you know what didn't stop? Mining. It never does.
Absolutely.
24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It's a testament to what we do in this country.
So absolutely. And that's exactly what happened. We just went straight into it, and we worked bloody hard to take advantage of the opportunity we were given, frankly. And so we still do have 1,000 square kilometres in the Yalgoo area. And
what are you mining?
We're not mining, we're exploring, but
what do you hope to mine?
So we were primarily looking for copper and gold at the time, and we still are.
Yep.
And so to give you a quick rundown of what has happened, so when we started working there, we found there was some guys, a colleague of mine was driving down the road, and he saw some guys digging on the side of the road, and he sort of said, what are they up to? And went in and had a look, and one of these guys has dug this big pit, and the whole wall of this pit was a big sheet of visible gold. I'm not talking veins, I'm talking a plate of gold. And he was literally crowbarring the gold into 44-gallon drums and sending it to the mint.
What?
Yep. And so obviously that caught our attention.
Who was the company?
It was just a prospect.
What?
So we said, okay, if that's not on any of the maps.
His land?
Yeah.
It was like his land, his tenement.
Yeah, little tenement, yep. And not uncommon in this area, to believe it. So we got a bunch of ground around it, and we started doing exploring, saying, okay, if that's not any of the maps, no one even knows there's gold here. What else could be here? And so it didn't take us long to realise that the Greenstone belt, and I think you learned about Greenstones on an episode recently.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the belt that's got all the good stuff in it, including WA8's gold deposits and importantly Golden Grove, which is like one of the most prolific copper mines in Australia, if not the world.
Yep.
And those same rocks go off into the countryside that no one's ever looked at before, because the geology maps were frankly completely wrong. And so we started exploring along it, and fast forward a couple of years, 22, we drilled the first hole into this whole new area that no one's even had a lease on before.
Awesome.
And we found a bunch of copper. And our share price went bananas, and everything was all exciting, and those things still exist. Unfortunately, we didn't get great grade out of it, so we sort of said, put that on hold, and we'll just keep looking. And we've drilling everywhere. We're finding gold and copper and stuff everywhere, but we haven't found the economic one yet.
Yeah, okay.
So fast forward to about October last year, we finally got approvals and everything to drill, and we have this new target, which was called Remorse.
Yep.
And it has all the hallmarks of Golden Grove. It's got copper sitting in the soils, and there's zinc in the soils, and there's a bit of iron sticking out of the ground, and that's absolutely dead ringer for Golden Grove, which is, broadly speaking, a layer of iron, a layer of copper, and a layer of zinc underground. And it had great geophysics over the top of it, and just everything. And we're like, this is the one.
Okay.
So we drilled a bunch of holes in October last year, and we got a little bit of copper out of it. Again, nothing economic, frustratingly. Yep. But when we hit the iron, which is garbage elsewhere around, we went, hang on, this looks different. And there's super high grade magnetite and really coarse grained, and we were just like, whoa, what's this? And so we drilled a bunch more holes, and then we realised, oh no, this is actually a deposit. This is actually an economic iron deposit in itself.
Awesome.
So
Remorse iron.
Yeah, there you go. So if you're looking for copper, end up with an iron ore deposit.
Yeah, I hear that quite a bit. I hear that quite a lot. That's how some of these gallium discoveries are.
It's a good example. Yeah, look for copper or nickel or whatever and find gallium. Yep.
Yeah, perfect. Mate, that was last year, 12 months ago.
Yeah.
What's recently been happening with Tempest Minerals?
Look, so one of the beautiful things of the various the way we've set the company, our companies up, is that we've got this fantastic technology and project management and everything behind it, which means that we can move quickly in anything we do. And so that's definitely something that sets us apart from any other competitors in the market that we have. Is, there's no one doing anything like us in that regard. And that meant that we could go straight from drilling, all our data's in the cloud, modelling it up, doing all that thing, just instant bang, bang, bang. And in the next couple of months, we have put out an exploration target, what we think could be there. And then we put out a resource, which is what we could calculate with the drilling that we did. And then we put out and we already started doing metallurgy as soon as we started drilling, because we realised it was, so we've put out those three things, and we just put out our last lot of metallurgy as well.
What did it come back at?
Unbelievable numbers. So
really?
The best we got was above 70%, which is as good as it's literally as high as you can go.
Yep.
So
Wait, where are you sending all that?
we did an IMO on this occasion. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Beautiful. Mate, you've had some great adventures. Are there any standout moments that you'd like to share?
Oh, look, that drill hole, as I said, drilling into somewhere brand new, first drill hole, and we put balls to the wall on it. It was a 1,000-kilometre hole, first hole.
Wow.
And we hit 3 completely different zones of copper, and we still don't know what they are. That's still study that's going on that. Going back in time, worked all over the world and had lots of adventures, for sure. I was telling some young friends of mine about this one yesterday. It's not by no means the standout of the world or anything, but it's just one I was telling. Is working in a Southeast Asian country directly north of us, and it's a fantastic copper deposit there. And working as a consultant, and we're fortunate enough because it's near the coast that we could stay in one of the resorts on this island, and so I finished all my work, 4 or 5 days, whatever it was, and I just arrived in country and I didn't speak the language there or anything yet, so it was all brand new to me. And I had to catch a plane at 6 a.m, I think it was, or maybe 7. And so I left the resort at like 4, and this driver's driving along, and again, brand new to the place, didn't know what I was doing, talking on my phone, whatever, messaging or something, and we kept slowing down over and over as we went through the villages, and there was these guys with these red glowing sticks, and I'm like, I wonder what that's at. And back to my phone, and then we stopped, and the driver gets out and he's having a yarn with one of these guys with the red sticks, and I'm like, I must be talking to his friend or something. And then out the corner of my eye, I saw the driver go really stiff, and I was like, something different's happening here. And none of us spoke each other's languages, and it was all very awkward. And then eventually someone hands me a phone, and it was the manager of the client I was working for, and he was borderline crying on the phone, and he's like, I'm really sorry, but you're under arrest.
What for?
So eventually it came out that the resort saw me leave at 4 a.m. and thought I was trying to skip out without paying, even though I'm obviously there working for the client who's their biggest customer, and it was retarded. But
wow, handcuffs.
Yeah, the whole lot. Yeah,
awesome.
But it
not
was,
awesome.
But it was,
but
it was a citizen's arrest.
Wow.
So the villagers were all trying to flag the car down to arrest me.
So these red sticks
was trying to flag the car down to arrest me. And but the problem in this particular island, which will remain anonymous, is
I think people will know
the police and the military there are also responsible for, as I know now, the country's drug trade, and basically control all the illicit activities.
Wow.
And so I'm getting arrested. I'm potentially going off to somewhere which I could, no one would ever know.
Firing squad.
Just completely
just disappear.
Disappear. No one ever know. And but.
What a bloody outstanding story. Once again, Don, you don't disappoint.
Yeah.
It's, were you scared?
Not at all. No. I have been through enough adventures in my life that I know I can look after myself.
What do you reckon, Demetri? That's freaking the shit out of me, man.
To be honest, the spectrum part of me was kind of just irritated at the illogical nature of this is nonsense. So but it was fun. Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing, mate. What's the best advice you've ever heard or been given? This is an important one, mate. So take your time, have a think about it, because in this industry, advice is just thrown around willy-nilly. But if you've got some good stuff, then let us have it.
Look, I'll store up a few of these for our future episodes.
Okay.
The first one I'll give a good friend of mine, Laurie, who was a big deal back in the 90s. He's told me, he's a bit of a mentor for me as well. So he's told me when I started my entrepreneurial side of my work and started my first business 15 years ago, whatever, he said, you can be the king or you can be rich. And what he meant by the king, he means you can be right
yep.
or you can be rich. And you can't be both at the same time. And there's a balance there. It's about doing things exactly perfectly all the time.
How do you manage that personally? How do you manage? Look, it's a big call.
Yeah.
Managing things perfectly. I'm more of and I think I said this to Baz the other day, is that I'm more of a make a strategic decision based on the amount of as much information as I have at that point of time. But I certainly want to make a decision. I'm not going to let anyone make a decision for me. I'm just saying in business.
Yeah,
in business, you need to make sure that you've got the right people there giving you that right amount of information or information. The buck stops with you, right?
Sure does.
So you've got to make that call. A lot of people just don't have it in them to make that call.
Look, I'll answer that question with another quote, actually.
Go.
And that was one of my first bosses, Peter Gilligan, who's a guru of the industry. He said, it doesn't matter what is right or wrong, you have to make the decision. And he said, it might be the right with the wrong one, and if it's a really dumb one, I'll take you around behind the bike shed and belt you around the head a few times.
Give you a little flogging.
But that is, you still have to make the decision, and I've always taken that aboard. And I follow exactly the same rule as you do in that regard. I just try and get as much information, and I can process things in pattern recognition pretty quickly, so that helps to make those decisions. But you just have to make it sometimes, and a lot of the time it's gut feel.
Yep.
And I think in terms of implementing those decisions, I've learnt that you can't make everything perfect, and the phrase is perfection is the enemy of good.
Yep.
And so I've taken on roughly speaking, the 80-20 rule. You say, 80% is where 99% of the value is, and that last 20% takes 1,000% more effort, but you only get 1% more value from it. So yeah.
Right, mate. We've got a couple of questions left. More of a personal one before we follow on with the last one being a Tempest Minerals question. Outside of work,
yep.
Obviously you're probably much like myself. You just throw it all into work and business and everything.
Yep.
Outside of work, what do you like to do?
The things we talked about earlier, for sure.
Yep.
There's sport, music. I'm probably not in the best shape of my life at the moment because I've got a few injuries, but certainly the
knees, hips, shoulders, elbows,
all those things. the usual.
It comes with age.
Comes with age.
How old are you, Don?
I think you made a guess at it earlier. We should go with that one instead of the actual number.
Yeah. So I thought, you look young. There'll be some viewers out there that would probably agree with me. And at 36, I thought 36, 38.
That's usually what people guess. And fortunately, I can say I'm 10 years older than that. So yeah.
I'm 41 and I feel like my knees, my hips, sometimes, walking on these old ankles,
you're still moving all right, mate. Don't worry.
All right, mate. Tempest Minerals, what does the next 12 to 18 months look like? Give us a little 2 to 3 minute, obviously there's no stop clock, but what do they look like for you in the business?
Look, so what we're doing is we've split 2 foci. The first one is to continue the progression of the Remorse iron discovery. So we've got a resource, we've got metallurgy and all those things, and we're just going to grow on that. So we're going to make it bigger and better. And look. What
does that entail?
More drilling.
Yep.
More testing, more studies, doing the geology and all the hard work, but also the engineering and looking at what that can come as a mine. And part of that's almost certainly going to be part of the. We signed an MOU with a potential green steel and iron developer, who are looking at building a project only half an hour from us.
Steel.
Yeah, and they're building one in Collie as well. So this is not unprecedented. And so the goal is to turn that mine and then feed that, or whatever the best economic outcome is. So we'll be progressing that.
Okay.
And at the same time, we'll be continuing, our core business, which is exploration as well. And we're focused on some gold targets at the moment. And
they're looking promising?
Absolutely. So the first cab off the rank will be in Mount Magnet. So our project there is split between, or it's bifurcates between Ordell Minerals, who are doing absolute great things, and you've got Ramelius Resources, who's one of the biggest gold miners in the country. And
once again, doing great things.
And doing great things. And our ground is right in between them. And it's literally the same rock, so it's a pretty no-brainer that we drill some holes there. Yeah.
So ideally, sell it off, get it to a point where someone comes in and purchases it, or become owner-operator and start getting someone like MMS involved, or the new business that everyone should be watching, Mega Resources.
Look, we've always got a phrase in our office is that we don't do dogma. So it's about the best economic outcome for shareholders in our regard. So if selling it is the best outcome, if operating it is we're capable of both. So
awesome.
Yeah.
Well, mate, thank you very much for coming and spending the time with us. I'm glad that we got the look. One thing that I would like to do is learn about other people.
Sure.
And so starting out this trifecta series was for me about finding out who these people are. Who's the name and the face behind these companies, and then getting involved and learning about these companies, what they're doing, where they're at. So in 12 to 18 months' time, even sooner for you by the sounds of things, we get you back and we can say, look, this is where we're at now. Obviously, it won't be a long episode like this, but depends on the information that you've got, that you'd be bloody throwing out, mate. So once again, thank you very much.
Hey, thank you. Anytime. Appreciate it.
Not a problem. Yeah. Thank you very much for tuning into another episode on The Gold Room. Hope you enjoyed this one. Don Smith, what a bloody legend. Get in, have a look at Tempest Minerals, have a look at some of their quarterly reports, get involved.